After I made love to Harley Quinn in our apartment for what seemed like an eternity of pure bliss, I got concerned about Poison Ivy because she's usually at home with me and Harley Quinn, and I got worried about her, so I teleported to Harley's old apartment, and then I saw Pamela standing there in all her beautiful green glory, and I said, "Are you okay, darling?" And she said, "Bruce, I'm fine, I was just doing experiments." And I said, "I see that, did you need help?" And she said, "As a matter of fact I do, since you're a genius and you're powerful, could you help me with my projects please, my love?" she said calmly, and I said, "I will do my best to help you with whatever you need." And she said, "I'm trying to test how large my connection is to the green. Is there any way you could make a planet specifically designed for me and my powers?" And I said, "Of course, darling, whatever you want." And she said, "Oh, I like what you said, I like the sound of that." And then I said, "Do you want to come with me to see me give life to a dead planet and amplify your connection to the green?" And she said, "Yes, but I can't survive in space." And I said, "With me around you can survive anything, even the cold vacuum of space." And then she, "Okay." And I said, "Take my hand, darling." And then I carried her in a princess carry like my beautiful bride, and I hovered over an Earth-like planet that no human could breathe on. And I said, "I must have missed this planet, or maybe I just forgot about these planets." And then me and her went to the surface, and she said, "It looks like Earth." And I said, "Trust me, it's not like Earth, the oxygen is too pure and most humans can't survive it." "You can't survive it, baby, I will need to transform this planet." And then I placed my hand on the Earth-like planet and I made it like Earth, and she said, "Give this world a lot of plants." And I said, "Okay, darling," and I did what she wanted, and then I amplified her connection to the green, giving her more power than she ever had before. And then I made the planet breathable like Earth, and I said, "This planet might be outside our universe." And then I realized we are standing on Kepler 452b, exoplanet very much like Earth but also different. And she said, "Thank you, Bruce, my love." And I asked, "Are you ready to go back home now, darling?" And she said, "Soon, but not right now." And then I created her a powerful spaceship with a talking eye system, and it's made of unbreakable metal and it travels incredibly fast through space. And then I said, "I have created you a spaceship made of unbreakable metal, you may return here anytime you wish." And the spaceship I created for you has an infinite power source, and I showed her how to fly it and use it, and she said, "It's powered by a miniature white sun." And I said, "Yes ma'am, I am Rao, remember?" And she said, "I remember, darling." And I said, "Explore the universe if you wish, nothing can harm your new spaceship, and it has very advanced technology and life support systems. You even have plenty of food and everything in this new spaceship, so I hope you enjoy it. Return home to us whenever you are ready." And then she kissed me passionately and she said, "I will not stay here for long, I will return soon." And I said, "I will see you soon." And then I flew out of the planet and at light speed, and she, "Damn, he's so hot and handsome." And she said, "Wow, this spaceship has everything, it's like a small mansion." And she said, "Well, he did make it big enough. And is that a kitchen, and is that a continuous water stream?" And on the ceiling it said Rao Technology with a sun underneath, and in big bold letters his name was imprinted on the ceiling of the spaceship, and it glowed for a moment. And she said, "Incredible, I'm starting to realize that maybe he is the most powerful god." And she smirked and said, "I am glad I married him. I didn't even think that I could touch a man anymore, let alone have his children. I'm poisonous to ordinary men, but after I made love to him the first time I knew he was different. There's always been something as special about him. I'm actually scared of losing him. I've come to rely on him." And she said, "I wished he wasn't a superhero. Maybe his adoptive son Dick Grayson can take over. He's old enough now, he's now 24 years old, he should be able to do it. And then maybe Bruce won't have to deal with all that heroic nonsense anymore, constantly putting his life in danger. I just don't want him to die. I love him." Pamela said all this to herself. "I know it's probably selfish, but I don't want him to die being a hero for everyone. People need to learn to take care of themselves. They need to stop waiting for someone to come save them all the time, and they need to save themselves, because it's not right that my husband has to do all work." And then some of them all lived their entire lives never truly knowing who saved them in the first place. It all just feels kind of pointless really anyway. Just because he's a hero doesn't mean I have to like it, and I never understood it anyway. Why help people that probably never gave a damn about you in the first place?